Welcome back to The Elegant Life. If you are new to this channel, which so many of you are, this is a place where I empower you to live your own version of your elegant life. And that is your dream life that is programmed into you. It is your destined life to have. The problem is that there's a lot of stuff that's in resistance to you living that life. And that's the way it's supposed to be. It's all set up that way. You have also been programmed with certain characteristics, personality traits, strengths, weaknesses, and through those, you're going to be able to manifest your destined life. It is not handed to you on a silver platter. It's the process of becoming that allows you to manifest your life. If you watched my video last week, I told you what my life used to be like. I literally did not get into half of what I used to experience in my life on a daily basis and the internal state that I felt. Now I can honestly say I have probably 90%, 95% inner peace and calm inside and contentment. And back in the day, I would say it was completely opposite. I probably had 10 inner peace, maybe 15. So I'm telling you, it can be done. See, much like the little tiny buds here that are going to become these beautiful purple flowers, they don't just show up. There's a process. And that's how life is as well. It's a process of becoming. So life is a process. Flowers go through it over and over and over, and so will you. And I shared an Instagram reel where I was saying, if you feel frustrated that you're not where you want to be and you think, God, I've been doing everything. Why am I not past my limiting beliefs? Why do I not have what I want manifested? Well, this is the process of life. If you look at where you are in your life now, there's a lot of things, or even just one, that you have in your life right now that at one point you were wishing for and you didn't have, and now you do. So you have to see that actually life happens in patterns. And now you just might be in that kind of winter period, and you've got some things to do before the fruit of your work manifests into reality. So what I thought that I could share with you in this video, I wanted to empower you with about 7 things that you absolutely need to do in that kind of winter time when your dream hasn't manifested just yet, or the whole thing hasn't manifested yet. There are 7 things that I do, and I am currently doing right now while I await for my next level of expansion and ascension to occur. So let me find a good spot to sit down. Then I will empower you with this elegant wisdom. Okay, let's do this. So the first thing that probably you're sick of hearing, but this has to be said, is to, number 1, get totally clear on what exactly you do want. You see, we can sort of have a vague idea, and this is where I was at one point in my life. I had a vague idea of the kind of wealth I wanted to have, the kind of life I wanted to enjoy, the things that I was going to be doing and things like that, but not specifically. So the first thing, and it might sound boring, but I'm telling you, once you do this, this is going to be really fun. I want you to get so specific, and you have to sometimes close your eyes and visualize this. Like, see yourself in that future dream life. What do you look like physically? Like your hair, like your makeup, like your body and your style, even down to what kind of pajamas do you wear to bed? Or what kind of things do you wrap around you in the morning when you wake up? I'm talking detailed here. And you'll see why this is so important, because this was key for me in my stage right now. So I'll share something with you. So very, very clearly, what kind of things are you doing for joy, for your happiness, for just pure pleasure? What are your relationships like? Do you have a partner? Then you got to deep dive into that partner. I mean, what do you see? Just go so deeply. What kind of foods are you eating? What kind of friends do you have? Where are you living? Are you still in the city that you are living in? Or do you have multiple homes like me? There's different sides of my personality. And so I was like, wow, I don't think I can just live in one place. So right now we have 2 homes, and there could be a third added in a different location because it's going to feed a different part of me. So yeah, that's what I mean. Just get very, very, very specific, because I'm telling you, this is huge when it comes to another step. So the second thing that you must do when you're waiting for your whole dream life to become a reality is to start living that life in whatever way possible. There was a time when I didn't have money to go to the hotels that I wanted to stay at, but what I would do is book tea times, and I would go enjoy a tea just by myself, with a friend, with my husband. That was all I could do, but I put myself in the energy that that woman was doing. Other things that I did was see, how was she going to bed at night? If I looked at my pajamas, they were like my oldest clothes. I still can't believe that I did this. Like the oldest clothes, the most holy ratty clothes that I didn't care about, I would wear to bed. And then when I started to tune in, I was like, this isn't now. This was many, 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 many years ago. I started to purchase 2 pairs of pajamas that were within my budget, that were more in alignment with that vision that I saw of that woman. Today, it's just something I do, and it's like a non-negotiable that I wear nice things to bed. But you see, you have to go step by step. One thing I began to really realize when I was doing the Start Your Day with Elegance and Flow meditation, which, look, I do my own meditations, and that's why I sell them on my website, because I want you to do what I'm doing, because I just keep manifesting and I just keep doing the same things over and over and it works. So I'm wanting to give it to you. So in one of my meditations, it was at the point of the meditation where there's visualizing you in your next phase of your dream life. And something hit me one day when I watched in my vision what she was doing with her day. And I realized your life today, of what your days are like, are so far removed from what she's doing. Was that woman still serving women with elegant spiritual wisdom? Oh yeah. In very intimate settings, in certain ways. Not the way that I was doing it. She didn't have packed full schedule of clients. And so at one point, that was my dream. I wanted to have a business that was packed full of clients that I was serving so well. They were having life transformational changes. Well, I got that. And yet, like I always tell you, when you get your dream, something taps on the shoulder and says it's time to go to the next level. And so I had to really take a good look at it and say, Erin, it's time that you go into the uncomfortability, that's what I call it, and start closing down certain things of the program. You know, the Elegant Art of Feminine Confidence program used to be a group component where every month we would meet live, and I would do an even deeper teaching, and we would do exercises and expansions and all that. I stopped it. I also stopped working with private clients unless I felt a tap on my shoulder that you want to do this now. So I would do it, I would enjoy it, and then I would close that down. And what I realized was the last step of that was actually me living the slow, more feminine lifestyle that woman, the Erin, in my next phase of my dream life was living. So I had to make the bold, courageous step to tell my husband that I am really stepping away. I'm like, I need time to find what this feels like. So I did that. And as you know, I went away for quite a few months, 6 months to be exact. And what I didn't expect was how absolutely hard the first 2 months were for me to really learn what slow living felt like. I didn't know. I kind of thought that I was already living a bit of the slow life and I was just going to stop work and it was going to be okay. It was so uncomfortable for me, I can't even tell you. So I was like, oh, wow. That was one of the things that was holding this back. And can I tell you, ladies? Can I just tell you that I was a bit, nervous to have that conversation with my husband because I was financially providing for our family quite a bit and he was focusing more of his time on building up the family business. And it was like taking certain time for certain projects and contracts to go through, and when we felt we were up, all of a sudden it wasn't working out and it was getting really frustrating. Well, can I tell you that when I stepped into my role to lean into more of the feminine slow living, it made my husband step up into his divine masculine role, and something built a fire in him, and things are just moving at such a beautiful rate. And so this is why I say this work is so important to whatever capacity you can. Now, look, I live a lifestyle now where I could do this. What if you couldn't? I hear some of you saying, because I used to say the same things when people used to say things like this to me. Oh yeah, well, it must be nice for you. You can do that. I can't leave my job. I can't practice slow living. But there are things you can do. You just have to brainstorm with maybe someone and say, even if it's showing up in the outfits, even if it's just eating differently, even if it's budgeting to go out to a certain restaurant, a certain kind of restaurant once a month or once a quarter, at least you're living in alignment with it to that extent. This is such a key point. I can't even stress it enough. Okay, let's go on to the third really important step. Okay, there's this bar right here, but it's got to be this way. At least you get a little bit of the view. All right, let's dive into this. So the third thing you must do while you wait for the next phase of your dream life to manifest is this. Check in with that dream life vision and see what uncomfortable thoughts come up for you. Remember that thoughts create feelings. It's not the feelings that create the thoughts. It always starts with the thoughts. For example, if you're trying to manifest a certain type of relationship, then what thoughts come up in your mind when you think of that? Is it, how is that ever going to happen? Okay, great, write it down. I don't look like I want to look, so who's going to be attracted to me? Be brutally honest and tell what the thoughts are going on in here. So you write them all down. Now, there's two things you can do here. You can work with someone to reprogram those. For example, if I ever open up spots again, you can definitely grab one of those. You can also write to me because I have someone that I often recommend who's excellent and she does a different process than I do. Or if you want to do this on your own, here's what you do. And I actually do both of these things. I look at my list and whatever is the negative thought, I write what the more empowering thought would be. For example, my body is not a body that would attract my ideal mate. We're talking just what your thought would be. Then what you would write beside it or underneath it is something like, I am on my way to looking and feeling like the vibrational match that is equal to that partner. Okay, something like this. You make it in your own words. You go through every thought, do that exercise, and then you take your phone and you use the voice recorder and you record yourself, almost like just giving yourself the biggest pep talk. I used to do this around money. I used to take my voice recorder and say, Erin, you know how this universe works. You know that the universe is your source and supply, and it is unlimited. So your source and your supply is absolutely unlimited. You do not have to know how all of these things are going to come. Do other people have these success stories? And I would mention all the people that I've witnessed that have had these success stories. You are no different. This is the way it works. You know the laws of the universe. They are not for only some, they are for everybody. And I would just go on and on and on, like about 5 minutes, just saying all of the positive thoughts. that I wanted to believe. And I used to listen to it every day when I would put my makeup on, until it got to the point where I just didn't want to anymore. And it was almost like those thoughts were running through my mind. So that is a very powerful exercise to do because it comes from your voice. Okay, let's move on to the very next step. The next step is to absolutely use the process that I taught in the second week of the glow up. Sorry about the noise. Where you are seeing what aspect of the light, of the universe, of source, am I being called to be more of? Let's just remind ourselves what the attributes of source are. They are unconditionally loving, ever expanding, generous, receptive, kind and compassionate, full of beauty, full of unlimited abundance, and creativity. So, which one of those is the one you're being called to be more of? And that attribute is the one that you are going to practice showing up as. Let's say it's receptive, being receptive to accept love, to accept a partner like that, right? If you're being called to be more receptive, you don't just have to practice being receptive in terms of relationships. These attributes ripple into every area of your life. So start with, when someone gives you a compliment, you saying, "Thank you so much. I appreciate that." If someone offers to pay for you, if someone offers you a discount, if what I do many times, if I offer you a free course, practice receiving it. So that is the next step, because really our purpose here in life, the reason why we're created in the first place, the reason why these dreams were put into us, is because when we go through a process of expanding and becoming even more, we're expanding the light. The light is ever expanding and it constantly wants expansion. So by you being more of the light, you are serving your purpose. It is the way the life works that when something is more of it, you just manifest at the frequency that that is. This is the stuff that you're going to put your time and energy into. And don't get obsessive about it, because this is not about being obsessive. I don't write things down every day, and if I don't do it, oh no, my manifestation's not going to happen. No, I go through periods. I feel into which is required of me in this moment. If I'm feeling lack, what do I need to be more of? I need to lean into unlimited abundance. I have to check my thoughts, right? I have to embody the light and expand that feeling of light within me. I have to act as if. Maybe when you're going to your closet and you're just going to grab that same old outfit that you usually wear, say, ooh, you might get this little tug at you that says, ooh, remember, how would she dress today? How would she show up today? This is how you want to do it. It's really about flowing between all of these things. And it doesn't have to be all of them every single day, one after the other. That's not how this works, okay? Let's move on to the very next one. The next thing to do is to really seek out and read about people, or watch YouTube videos, or listen to podcasts. When people are sharing their stories of where they were and where they are now, these stories are so important for your brain to hear, because it now has antennas and it's looking for evidence that what you keep telling it on your little voice recording is true. People do have these success stories. People have miracles happen. And your brain needs to see evidence of that. And if you haven't had any miracles like that happen just yet in your life, you can use other people as expanders. I know I've had many people write to me and say, thank you so much for being an expander for me, Erin, because what you have, I wanted. And when I really leaned into it and saw that it's possible, and you didn't know how, they would write to me that whatever they wanted had come true for them too. You really cannot hear enough success stories. Now, sometimes it might bring up jealousy, but that's your work. That is your work, to move through it and feel the unlimited abundance attribute of light, that there is enough for everyone. Just because someone is successful now, or someone is living the dream life, that you can too. So you have to keep telling yourself, right? And you maybe need to do another voice recording and listen to that for a while. I wanted to share a story about receiving and I had to come home. So there was a time when I was in the process of wanting to manifest this life. And we used to come to this house actually just during the summer for a couple of weeks or a month. This was about 10 years ago, something around this time. And we went into town and we went to visit one of our friends who owns a company with big wooden traditional ships. And people like to go on 5-day blue voyages, they're called here, because the water is like beyond beautiful. And anyway, we just went to say hi. And he said, "What are you doing for the rest of the day? Because you know what? I have a ship that just dropped off some people. We've got full staff on board. We can just get someone to drive you over to the spot where the boat is, and the boat has to come back here. So why don't you be on the boat and enjoy all the special treatment and come back here?" Do you know what I said? It's almost unfathomable that I would say this, but this is what I said. "Oh, thanks, but we were going to go grocery shopping." I hear you laughing. The guy was in shock and he said, "I think grocery shopping can wait." And then my brain starts saying all the logical things, right? "Well, I don't have a bathing suit." And he said, "Store right next door, go buy one." And it's like, now, why am I panicking? Why would I panic over someone offering me a luxury experience? Do you know why? Because I was not able to receive. My programming was to do things, get things done, task oriented, be in my masculine energy. When you lean into your feminine energy, this energy is about being, about receiving. And I wasn't connected to my feminine. I had never heard any of this stuff. And yet at the same time, ladies, I was trying to manifest this life. How is that possible? If I can't receive someone saying, "I'm going to give you a luxury experience on a boat with a full staff," and you're going to say, "No, I've got to go grocery shopping," you think that you're ready to receive at the level that you were envisioning this life? There's no vibrational match. There's total dissonance. My husband, who actually is very in touch with his feminine, he was like, "We are going. Let's go right now. We're going to get you something." And within 20 minutes, we were being driven to this luxury boat. And we had the whole afternoon with a full set of chefs and staffs waiting to serve us. They created a buffet of food for us to choose from, and the whole ship was just for us. That was a huge moment for me. When I was on that boat, what do you think I felt? Totally high vibe, totally like, "Oh yeah, I can get used to this." People asking me, "Would you like this? This? Can I get you this? Can I make you this?" I'm telling you, it was life changing. It changed me. And that story stays with me today because of the profound impact it had on my capacity to allow myself to receive. So even if you hear me say, "Oh, are you receiving?" You'll probably say, "Oh, yeah, oh, yeah." Well, if you don't have what you are desiring in your life, I'm pretty darn sure you've got some work to do in the receiving department. We all tend to have that because we've been raised in culture, society that praises doing over being, that praises giving over receiving. And so all of us, to different extents, have to work on this. So I thought you'd enjoy that little story. So the only last thing that I'm going to mention here is this. Expect to feel uncomfortable. Expect to sometimes feel like you're going backwards instead of forwards. This was something I had to become very comfortable with. You see, when I left my teaching job because I wanted to get pregnant, that was a weird experience. It felt like, yes, I'm going forward, yet I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get pregnant, right? And you feel like you're going backwards because you don't have a career now. You don't have a job. What's your plan? You know, even when we were living in Dubai, we had just come here for the summertime and we were going to go back. When going back became not doable, being here at the beginning, I remember writing to someone and she said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I feel totally lost. Like I have no understanding as to why this has happened." You see, I felt like we had just been like flung 20 miles backwards. And yet, this life is actually what we were asking for. We have been gifted with so much by living here. I could do a whole video of what we've been gifted by living here. So expect that when you are moving forward, sometimes it will feel like you're going backwards. That you may have to go through a period that feels a bit like sacrifice or that feels lower, like let's say taking a lower pay. And so that will feel uncomfortable. Yet just go with it. Just feel the uncomfortability and do all of these things. And then the last thing I would say is utterly focus on bringing as much joy and pleasure to your life as you can. Okay? That is what you do. So your weekends, your evenings, your meals, your clothes, your makeup, your hairstyle, your music, the things you watch, the things you listen to, make it all about joy and pleasure, okay? Because that is a very high vibration. If you only do that and follow your joy and pleasure, you will be so much further ahead, okay? So I hope this video was helpful. I took you on a little walk. Sorry about all the construction noise and all the changing locations, but I don't know, maybe you appreciated that. I'll see you next week. Much love.